October 11th, 2021. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 241 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Mike, how are you feeling?
Getting better.
You are good.
Maybe 80% now.
Because it was...
Good enough for the podcast.
Yeah, that's all you need is 80%. That's true. Because it's been a while. Gosh darn it. You've missed some work. And
a lot of work.
There were a couple of times where I went up to the casino by myself, which is that can let listeners know exactly how bad you were feeling.
Yeah, it was 6 weeks.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, man. But it seems like you're on the mends.
Yeah, getting better.
Yeah, you were able to drive over here, and we're doing the show. And in fact, you and I even went to the casino the other night and had a pretty good time.
First time in a long time.
Yeah, so... Well, welcome back. Obviously, we've got a ton of phone calls.
Okay.
So why don't we just jump into those real quick, and then we'll take a break after we've listened to a few and talk about some of the things that have happened since our last episode, like our poker tournament, which seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Yeah, I know. It's a good thing I took notes here so we can actually
I was trying to think this morning, who went out first, me or you? And I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was me.
It was you, yeah. Of course. But we'll talk about that. And then I took a quick trip to Vegas here, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But anyway, let's jump into some phone calls. Okay, first up is Brandon.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. Brandon here from Colorado. Just wanted to pass along a Vegas trip report for you. We went out there for my birthday. Wife and I stayed at the Bellagio. One thing of note at the Bellagio is the decor in the rooms has all been updated in a good way. I even remarked to my wife last time that we were there that it was starting to feel a little shabby. And our room was all decorated in new decor, and it was very nice. Aside from wearing masks, Vegas feels completely normal. There's no plexiglass, no social distancing. All the slots are on at 100%, etc. We spent most of our time gambling at the Bellagio. $15 table limits in the morning for craps, and then by 9 a.m., they went to $25, and it was like that the rest of the day. There were even some $50 limits, so high limits right now on the Strip. The gambling itself went really, really well, actually. It was a really good trip for me. One morning, we had a hot shooter who rolled for about 45 minutes. He hit about 20 sixes and eights. That's what we figured out, and you guys will get a kick out of this. The very first roll was a hard six, and every 6 and 8 after was easy. He never hit a hard way after that. And he did hit the make 'em all. And unfortunately, I didn't have money on it because he told me when he started his shoot, he said, dude, I don't roll 12s. Well, of course, the last number he rolled to hit the make 'em all was a 12. So, but there were people that had money on it, so that was pretty cool. I got to ask the pit boss some questions, which was really nice, actually. He was very friendly. I learned a little bit more about how you get rated at the craps table and how to get recognized, things like that. I also learned a new way to tip the dealers. Usually I just do a two-way hard six or a two-way hard eight, but one of them said you can tip on your odds. Just let them know, hey, I'm tipping on my odds. Leave extra chips for them on top, canted off the odds. So that was pretty cool, and those did hit a couple times for the dealers as well. And then the last thing is, the final morning that I was there was a guy at the table, and he was doing some weird stuff. He had every number covered up top, but he was constantly saying, on, off, on, off. Hey, give me a 7. Hey, and eventually the pit boss came over and said, hey, you're interfering with her roll. Calm down. Have you guys ever seen a pit boss step in and actually favor the shooter as opposed to the guy who's trying to throw money on the table? That's all I got, guys. Thanks again for everything. Take care.
I don't think we've ever seen anything like that strictly based on betting.
No.
Maybe there was something else going on, like this guy was a jerk or, who knows. I mean, it can be.
I wish we have. There's plenty of times I'd like to tell somebody to stop doing that. Those people that off, on, and, take this one down and do this and do that. And, all it does is just slow the game.
I don't mind if it's efficient.
Yeah.
If the person knows exactly what they're going to do. I don't like it when it seems like it's on a whim.
Right.
And, they're making a decision right before the dice go out.
Right.
Things
the
like
last
that.
second.
Yeah.
That's probably what this guy was doing.
That could be, yeah.
Because if he was interfering with her roll, he was probably like right before she was ready to pick the dice up saying, turn my 5 off.
Right, yeah. So, again, I'm hoping that in this situation, at least, it was because of the guy's personality. Because, Yeah, honestly, a pit boss shouldn't be telling people how to bet. But craps is kind of a different beast, too, where, people believe in this rhythm of the game and want to keep things going.
Right.
And
well, if he's slowing the game down enough, the casino doesn't like it either.
that's true, even if he is making bets, right? And especially if he's turning bets off. So,
exactly.
Yeah, Brandon talks about tipping the dealers by adding to your odds. That's something that you can do. You can go above the limit, in fact.
Right.
So let's say it's like a 3, 4, 5 times odds, and you've got $25 on the line, and the point's 4. So you've got 75 behind. You can put like $1 or $2 on top of that, adding to your odds, and that is a tip for the dealer. We first actually found out about that. It was Brian and Sarah. Do you remember in Las Vegas? We saw them doing it. We'd never even heard of it before.
Right.
But you just add there, and it's a nice little thing because they get paid at true odds, and
I wonder what the house will let you go up to.
That's a good question, right? And it's going to depend on the casino, I imagine.
They're not going to balk at $1 or $2, but let's say you put $50 out there. Are they going to say, "Wait a minute"?
Yeah, but it's a great way to tip the dealers because we've talked about it before. Really, the best thing to do if you're tipping is just give them the money and have them drop it, right? But of course, they want to be part of the game. But in the long run, they're getting less money,
right?
When you bet for them.
Most of them are going to lose.
Well, and they're not getting when they do win, they're not getting paid at true odds. But in this case, they are getting paid. So it's the same, right? And this way, they're in the game. So that's kind of a nice way to do it. Yeah, when I was in Vegas, I concur with what Brandon said. It's exactly like Vegas used to be. The only difference now is masks.
You do have to wear a mask.
Maybe that's a reason people don't want to come. But everything else now is pretty much back to normal. It's just the masks.
What about shows and stuff?
Oh, well, yeah, as far as that goes, they are having trouble with staffing, and some of the shows haven't come back. So, I mean, that is different.
Okay.
But as far as just players, and going around.
And restaurants and stuff?
Well, again, it's based on staffing. So, yeah, but, as far as actually going.
So it's not based on the fact they're worried about Corona. It's more that they just can't get enough people to run the venues.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. All right. Exactly.
Well, hopefully that'll change.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I don't know why people wouldn't want to go back to work.
There are a lot of reasons.
Hey, stay home for 6 weeks on the couch.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go back to work.
Maybe if this whole dentistry thing doesn't work out for you, you'd be gone so long, you can go work at the restaurants in Las Vegas.
Might not be a bad idea. I may end up there.
You've got some waiter experience.
A lot of waiter experience.
All right, next call.
Hey, Mark, Dr. Mike, Carl from Maryland checking in. A couple of episodes ago, you had a caller who mentioned alerting a casino to a video poker error, and it got me to thinking about times I was in the casino and I notified the casino, or we did the right thing, and how the casino reacted to it. So the first I'll tell you about happened at Horseshoe Baltimore, Caesars property, just before COVID happened. I was in the poker room, as I'm wont to do, playing, and I got up to use the bathroom, and there was a quick hallway that you could cut through to the bathroom. And on the way through, I found a set of keys on the floor. I picked up the set of keys, put them in my pocket, went and did the necessary, and then walked to the security podium to turn the keys in at the front of the casino. As soon as I did, they were very inquisitive. Where did you find these? How did you get these? Where did these come from? How long have you had them? It was a lot of questions regarding those keys. Finally, a supervisor came over, got a statement from me about where I found them, all the details that went into them, why it took me so long to turn them in, had to go to the bathroom. Finally, he comes out, they were a set of employee keys that would have unlocked and opened up a lot of different things. Well, I did the right thing, turned them in. You would think, hey, maybe they'll give you a little something for it. Not just a thank you, and off you go on your way. No big deal. Flashback to, 5 or 6 years ago, my wife and I are up at the Showboat in Atlantic City. I'm playing blackjack. She's playing a slot. We've got eyesight. All of a sudden, I don't see her anymore. And I see security guards in her general area. And I'm getting ready to hop up, and she wanders over and says, hey, I need your hoodie. Give me your hoodie real quick. Everything all right? Everything's fine. I'll tell you about it in a minute. Well, find out, a woman had passed out 2 slots away from her. My wife is a registered nurse. She started rendering aid immediately. The security came over to block off the area because somebody tried to take the woman's purse while she was passed out on the floor. My wife gave report to the EMS workers who took her and transported her to the nearest hospital and had somebody come down for security, take a statement, what happened, how did you help out, what did you do, da-da-da-da-da. Took her name just to file a report. A few hours later, we go upstairs. Underneath of our door is a thank you note from the casino for taking care of their customers and a $100 comp for dinner. We just thought that was a really nice gesture, doing the right thing. All right, Mark and Dr. Mike, have a great show. Enjoy listening to you as always. Bye.
So two completely different story. Well, the outcomes were different. It's good that at least something good happened on that second story. Yeah, the first story, it's that situation where they're very suspicious of him because he's got these employee keys.
Right. Well, I mean, understandably, they don't know what's going on.
Sure, right. And they're trying to figure out. But ultimately, he's turning them in.
Right. Yeah, if he really had done something, he probably wouldn't have turned them back in.
Right.
I took these and I took some other stuff. Bye.
It didn't, it just didn't occur to them he was doing something good. I remember once, Mike, I was walking out of a restaurant and a gentleman in front of me dropped his wallet. He was a fair distance in front of me, but he dropped his wallet. So I picked it up and said, "Oh, excuse me, sir, is this your wallet?" And he looked at me and kind of came over real suspicious and took his wallet back and didn't say anything, didn't say thank you. That he was looking at me suspiciously like, had I stolen his wallet?
Right.
Right. But, at the same time here, I'm giving you your wallet. But he's trying to process it. Right.
Right.
And he really should have said, "Oh my gosh, thank you. My wallet." I would have been, in a terrible situation. But at that initial process of, why do you have my wallet?
Right.
So I assume it's something similar to this happening, but oh my gosh, they should have, comped his entire trip and set of casino keys.
Well, he didn't know their casino keys either. So he's not going to do anything. It's not like he's going to find them. Oh, these are casino keys. I can sell these on the black market or something, right? He's just doing what any normal person would do. Somebody lost their car keys.
Right. And Carl's got no sense of urgency because they're just keys and he has to go to the bathroom. Maybe he had to go real bad, right? So he's going to take care of that first.
Yeah, well, I don't think I'd walk in the bathroom, find keys, and then walk out. I mean, who would do it? You would just go to the bathroom, then you would take the keys to someone.
Well, yeah, exactly, right? So anyway, a couple of good stories. I'm glad there was a happy ending to one of them at least.
Yeah, it might be worse if he didn't pee, told the... as he's explaining it to him, they're questioning him, and then he pees his pants there. They're thinking, oh, he's
obviously guilty. Yeah.
He's obviously guilty. He's nervous as hell.
So what you're saying is Carl did the right thing.
Carl, always pee first.
That's another T-shirt. Oh my God, that's a fantastic one. Always pee first. I might seriously do that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's fantastic advice. All right, next up is Anthony.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. It's Anthony from Missouri. I want to give a trip update about our trip to North Carolina and Asheville. I was there for a bachelor party, so we decided to hit up the Cherokee Casino, and gotta say, it was really, really nice. I was actually really surprised at how nice it was. Really windy road. So it's about an hour outside of Asheville. Definitely a destination spot if you're going, if you wanted to stay. Tables were $15 minimums mostly on roulette, blackjack, and craps, which is what I played. Played some blackjack with all of the buddies, and then went over to the craps table for a little bit. Lost some money, was up and down, and then I decided to play some of the roll to win craps. And it's just not the same. I will say it's nice because it's $5 limits, but it didn't seem to have that pizzazz or that stuff that we really like about craps, if that kind of makes sense. So not as communal. Everyone had to wear masks in there, of course, and everything like that. But I probably would stick to the $15 tables mostly, unless I was really on a tight bankroll. But definitely is a spot that everyone needs to check out. I know that's been discussed many times. Yeah, it was great. Would definitely recommend it, and we'll be going to Vegas soon in about 2 weeks here, so hopefully I'll have another update there too. Thanks for all you guys do, and we'll keep listening on. Thanks.
Yeah, Harrah's Cherokee, it's like our white whale, right? I mean, it's eventually we'll get there. Tons of listeners love it. Your brother goes on about it.
We've never heard one bad comment.
No. And, it's supposed to be beautiful. We should probably change the name of our show to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for Harrah's Cherokee.
Yeah,
because it seems like we talk about it every episode.
They ought to be sending us something our way.
Yeah,
like
we really
free
should.
Trip out
Maybe
there
we should make them a sponsor.
Yeah.
Hey, we do an ad for you every episode.
Right.
How about a little, okay. Next up is Jeff.
Hi, guys. It's Jeff from Los Angeles. I've been listening to your podcast last couple of months, and they've been great. I love the guy who complained about the water in his shower, how it was cold, where 120 years ago, pioneers are going through that desert and dropping dead because they're dehydrating. And now they not only provide us with water to drink, but to bathe in, and we complain about its temperature. So that just, I don't know, I thought that was funny. Also, you guys were talking about people who set die and how that can slow the game down and somewhat be annoying. I set die too, and I'm sure you mentioned this on another show, but just for your listeners, to set die really quick, if you look at a die, the opposite side is always going to be a number that adds up to 7. So if I'm looking at the 6, straight on, it's sitting on a 1. And if I'm looking at a 5, the opposite side is a 2. If I'm looking at a 4, the opposite side is a 3. Because I know that, I can set die really quick, and when the dice come out, I'm throwing it again, like within 5 seconds. So that speeds it up, and usually people won't complain or anything like that. I'll actually set the die to try and get a 7 on the come-out roll, and then once I have a point, I set it to a hard 10, a pair of 5s, and then I spin the 5s around until 3s are touching on one side and 4s are touching on the other. I know a lot of this might sound like superstition, but I think it's harder to hit a 7 like that. Maybe just superstition, but I enjoy the game a lot more doing it this way. One funny thing is that I was playing one time, and a guy would set the dice really meticulously and took a lot of time. Then when he had it right, he would put his fingers on the felt just above the dice and then move them in a counterclockwise circle 3 times. Then he would pick up the dice and just palm them and shake them in his hand and then throw them. So what was the point of setting the dice? It was just driving me nuts. But, yeah, I do set dice, and like I said, more enjoyable for me. Keep up the good work. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, we have no trouble with people setting dice. That's part of the fun of the game.
As long as it's quick. Because we do it sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I do it every once in a while.
And I don't even mind a routine if somebody has it, as long as it's not, the flip the dice over a bunch of times, rub your hand on your shirt, take a drink. I mean,
well, I saw one guy once, similar thing, set the dice, spent a lot of time setting them, and then hit them against the back wall, behind him. And they all just went, blah, 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 and picked him up
and then shoot,
Yeah, and I'm like, well, what was all the other stuff about?
If you actually believe there's something to setting dice, then you've undone that. Well, again, if that's how you have fun, that's fine. Just don't take too long, right?
Well, my favorite is the guy out at Rincon. I mean, this is by far my favorite. He spends a ton of time setting them and doing all this. Then he steps a little bit away from the table and adjusts his shirt, his sleeves on his shirt. He goes through this whole routine and then picks them up and throws them. So evidently, setting them isn't enough. You have to, your shirt has to be aligned. That's right, properly.
The dice gods are watching. Did he adjust his shirt? Did he on that one? I don't even know.
What if he didn't adjust his shirt? 7 out.
Well, you can call him on it. Well, you didn't adjust your shirt. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Jeff talking about, the pioneers and no water and everything. Hey, we're all guilty of first world problems, complaining about first world problems. I'm sorry, though. If I'm in a hotel in Las Vegas and I have no hot water, that's worth a complaint.
Yeah, well, it's what we're used to.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in reality, though, there are plenty of places in the world that have trouble getting just clean water.
Of course. That's why
we live in a world where, we want... your house, right?
Yeah.
You woke up and you didn't have hot water. You're calling the plumber to see, if you can get a new water heater installed.
That's right. And then you're stressing about it all day.
Yeah. Just this morning, our doorknob on our garage door that goes from the house to the garage came off.
Oh my God.
And it's,
I'm surprised you came over, Mike, to record.
I told Lynn, as soon as I get home, I got to fix that door.
Oh, geez. That's rough. All right. Next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Keith calling from New Hampshire. How are you guys? Me and a buddy recently went over to the Twin River Casino in Lincoln, Rhode Island. There is no casinos in New Hampshire, so we head down to Rhode Island to go play. Interesting little story for you. My buddy was on a pretty good roll, maybe rolling about 15, 20 minutes. And all of a sudden we noticed some security going around the table, 4 or 5 guys. And there was a gentleman that started betting the don't come immediately as the security arrived. And my buddy just kept on hitting points, knocking him off. And he kept on betting a $50 don't come. And my buddy just kept on hitting points and knocking him off. Eventually, security got closer and closer. And I thought the reason security was there was for my buddy because he was rolling so well. But it turns out all of a sudden they grabbed the guy next to him and they kind of dragged him off. And we found out later, apparently he had a cell phone camera and he was taking pictures of some of the cocktail waitresses and female dealers on the table. So pretty interesting story for you guys. Wondering if you guys have seen anything kind of crazy with security jumping on the table like that. Love the show, and we'll talk with you guys soon.
I don't see where him betting the don't necessarily has anything to do with the pictures that he's taking. I'm trying to figure out why he...
Well, it's probably, the story gets a little confusing. He probably just took him off because he was betting the don't mark.
That's why security came over.
That's why security... What the hell?
Are you insisting on betting the don't?
Every time?
With all the points that this shooter's making?
This guy's making a ton of points. You're an idiot. Get out of here.
That's right. Kicked him out. You're 86. You're trespassed. But we're probably not getting the whole story here. You know, okay, taking...
He might have been taking inappropriate pictures.
Well, what I'm thinking is, okay, you got your cell phone. Maybe he had one of those hidden cameras that are taking, pictures like from his shoe or something, something.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
some kind of inappropriate photos.
But, and, who knows? When somebody is taken off by security... A lot of times you're not going to get all the story, right? Because it's kind of a private matter and rumors go around. So,
and it could be something he could be in cahoots with a deal. I mean, who knows what's going on.
Yeah, maybe that was not really it, right?
Right.
And maybe that is why he started betting the don't to try to take attention away from him,
himself.
or I don't know. It doesn't make sense when I say it, but I mean,
right. And the thing is, you don't have enough information.
Yeah, right.
And they're not going to tell you really.
No, right.
They're not going to say the real reason because it's a matter of privacy, especially if there might be some kind of lawsuit or something. They'll get sued if they release information they're not supposed to.
Yeah. Well, let's take a break here from the phone calls and talk about our poker tournament that we had on Labor Day weekend. A very successful tournament, I think. We were worried because the previous one, almost half of the time was spent on the final table, right? And I thought it was kind of an anomaly, and it seems like maybe it was, because that wasn't the case this time. Although maybe the reason the final table didn't last so long is because Rando Shadow 74 completely dominated this tournament.
Yes.
I mean, he really did. Not only did he take you out and Tim Lawson, he also won the whole thing.
Right.
He almost took me out even. He was to the right of me at a table.
He almost took you out.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's really the story is Rando, he had such a huge chip lead at the end and he was getting cards.
Right.
And you can't beat that combination, right?
That's why he's trespassed.
That's right.
From any further poker tournaments.
So anyway, like I said, he took you and Tim out. Whitetail 124 took me out for the bounty. Second place was M. Dutterer. And third place was Muckleshoot Aces. And also, listener Richard donated $100 to the charity of the winner's choice, Rando's Choice. And Rando chose Prevent Child Abuse America as his donation. So thanks to both Richard and Rando. Yeah, that was really good. But a successful tournament. Anything else to say about it? Gosh, Mike, again, it was so long ago. I can't even remember how I went out.
No, it was fun, though. I mean, I had fun.
Yeah.
It seemed to be fun.
Yeah, it's the furthest I've got. I think I was on the last two tables, but didn't make it to the final table. And again, we're going to plan on having another tournament on that Sunday right before March Madness starts. So that selection Sunday for March Madness.
Like first week of March?
Or second,
of March?
We'll figure it out. We'll announce it. But yeah, it'll be in March. So that'll be the next one. So thanks to everybody who played. Yeah, it was a really good time. Mike, we're in a 33 pool that our buddy Ed O'Connor put on. And the idea is that everybody contributes to the kitty. And you're assigned random NFL teams each week. And if your team wins the game and scores exactly 33 points, you get the pot. And if a week goes by and nobody wins with exactly 33 points, then it rolls over and
pot gets bigger.
Right. And I don't know where we originally heard about this, but we were doing this like in the...
I'll tell you, I know.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, a classmate of mine in dental school told me about it.
Oh, okay. So I didn't even remember what the origin was.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did something like that when he was in undergrad.
Okay.
And so we had one when we were in dental school, and that's where we heard about it.
Okay. Yeah. So then we kind of introduced it to our poker group when we were doing it in the early 90s, because 33 was kind of an odd number to win with.
It was harder to hit, it seemed like back then, because...
Yeah, the game has changed. It seems like it happens more often now than it did back when we were originally doing it. 2-point conversions, the overtime rules changed, right? Things like that. I mean, you could point to a bunch of things, Well,
they started using metrics where they, analyze.
Sure,
before then it was like, well, we always kick an extra point unless it's the end of the game. And we need two.
Analytics has changed a lot of that. The rules, the touchback coming to the 25-yard line.
Right.
Back when we were originally doing this, everybody elected to receive, and now everybody's deferring, right? Which, we talked about. It's surprising it took that long.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we're kind of going on and on here. So we've been part of this pool that Ed's been putting together for years, and we've never won.
No,
and never
won.
We're sort of the poster boys for having never won. Because it seems like everybody else has won. Tim Lawson, who joined the pool for the first time this year, won in the first week.
Right.
And with somebody else who also had never joined before, they tied for the... So anyway, I think it was week 2. We're watching, and we've got the Vikings for our team for the 33 pool. And sure enough, they scored 33 points exactly. But they didn't win the game,
Right.
So, once again, we didn't win. And I know how people, just in general, Mike, enjoy listening to other people whine.
Yeah, right.
So that's why I thought we'd talk about it here is, can you believe that? 33 points.
The real reason is you're thinking, if I whine enough, I'm going to hit it.
That's
if
true.
I whine enough, I'll eventually hit it. Then to shut me up, the gods will let me win.
Yeah, that certainly works with our poker night.
Yeah, that works at poker. It does not work so good for us with video poker or with football pools.
Just poker, I guess. Craps, I don't know. It's 50-50. I can't tell.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's
right.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen? We're going to hit a royal, or we're going to win the 33 pool?
Oh, God.
What are the odds, Mark? Give me the odds.
Okay, here's the thing. I think I'm going to hit the royal. You never will. So,
okay.
I mean, let's not even count that.
All right.
But I think I'm going to hit the royal before we win the 33 pool.
Okay, there you go. What are you going to say? What?
Oh, the actual odds on it?
I got $10 on that bet, and I'll give you 3-1.
So 3-1.
Yeah.
So you're saying we're going to win the 33 pool first
before you hit the royal.
All right. So $10.
Yeah.
3-1.
3-1.
That's a bet, my friend.
All right. There you go. $30.
Listeners,
$30 coming your way.
Listeners, once we're done recording, we forget a lot about what we said. I can tell you how many times listeners have come up and they'll, I love that story about, we're just blank, what? So we're going to completely forget about this bet. If it ever happens, remind us so we don't forget. So yeah, this last weekend, I took a quick trip to Vegas. It turns out Tim Lawson was going for G2E, which started in the middle of the week. So he went a little earlier on Saturday to, just kind of enjoy himself, playing whatever. And so, you and I have been talking about a trip, and, you've been out of commission. So I thought, well, gosh, maybe I'll go. And so, yeah, with like less than a week beforehand, I got the okay from the wife and, just drove there real quick. Had a very good time. Just stayed downtown the whole time. I know I've got comps coming from Caesars and things like that, but I knew Tim was going to be downtown.
Right.
And I'm thinking, well, I don't want to stay on the Strip and then have to drive downtown and deal with parking and, what if I drink too much?
And Tim's not going to have a car.
Yeah,
because he's coming from the East Coast.
Yeah.
So it's easier for you.
But it worked out great. Stayed at Plaza, and they were able to comp my hotel room and everything after they saw my play over the weekend. Just had a really good time. I recorded with Tim. He's going to post it, I'm sure, to The Better Life. So check out his podcast for some more details. But we ran into some listeners, played a lot of face-up Pai-Gow poker. A lot. It was so enjoyable. It was great. We were playing at Circa.
Now, that's a good game to play with friends when you're, when you're just wanting to, chat.
Yeah.
There's a lot of chat time.
Yeah, a lot of chat time, a lot of pushing. And, I'd order a bunch of drinks. And, it's Circa. So this was NFL Sunday, right? So there's tons of energy. Yeah. There's a monitor in front of us with a game on. And then the sports book was behind us. So whenever we wanted to check on a certain game, we just, look behind us. We had plenty of time between hands.
Right.
And we could check out any, games that were going on. Anyway, so just had a really good time. Hopefully, Mike, you and I can get a trip to Vegas here before too long.
I'd like a trip where I'm not laying on my couch at home looking at my phone for updates on what the last roll was at the craps table.
I'm sending him so many texts. I'm thinking, I know he wish he could be here, but
Instead, I'm like,
Easy 4, Mike. Easy 4 was just rolled. But we were going to go out for the Great Gift Wrap-Up. That's probably not going to happen now at the beginning of November. No. There is one in December. Zorkfest is in December too. We've penciled that in, but we can't commit to anything.
I'm going to see how October goes, and then maybe December's a go.
Okay. Yeah. See how you're feeling, see how work's going.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And of course, we'll mention it on the show if we do firm up any plans.
Definitely.
So,
definitely.
Stay tuned. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's get back to phone calls. Next up is our buddy Miguel.
Hello, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Miguel from North Texas, and this is my Vegas trip report. Ever since I moved to North Texas, I have spent some time in Oklahoma and been checking out all the casinos there, but I cannot do the $1 fee per hand. So I planned a trip to Las Vegas with my son. We just went this week. We arrived Wednesday at the Golden Nugget, Fremont Street. We like the downtown area. It's just so nice to be able to walk to all the different casinos. We got all sorts of crazy nightlife there on the sidewalks. And, of course, my favorite, we have White Castle and Coney Island hot dogs within a few feet of each other, so you can't lose. It's a fairly comfortable place to stay, and it's got a cool pool. I was sitting there in the shallow end, relaxing, watching the big giant tank of fish. It's just good on a hot day. Best of all, downtown on a Wednesday, crazy table limits. $5, $10 for blackjack. Roulette for $5. I couldn't believe it. I hadn't seen anything like that before. I think I only saw one $15 blackjack table in the entire place. Everything was $5, $10. We went there to play roulette. That was my son's choice. So I decided to play the James Bond method. As you know, the James Bond method requires you to play 14 chips on the outside and then 6 chips on the inside in order to stay afloat and make a small profit. Unfortunately, I did not count on the casino rules that if you play 14 chips on the outside, you also have to play 14 chips on the inside. I didn't know that. So I didn't want to pay $28 per hand. I ended up modifying the James Bond to play 10 on the outside and 10 on the inside. It was a total mess. Lost half my stack and I gave up. But my son had better luck. He's a roulette player. He started with $40, ended up with $800. So yeah, he did okay. I then went to the blackjack and pie gow tables to recoup my losses and was able to kind of almost come back up to even. The pie gow was a $15 table. It was face down pie gow. I lost that face up, but with face down, I made some money, and I love getting the dealer's ace high pie gow hand. Makes money for everyone. As far as the craps tables, I didn't check. As you know, I don't play craps. I've listened to your show long enough to kind of stay away from that game. Everything seems to be back to normal. Everyone's walking around in the heat with the chin diaper. But when you go back into any indoor venue, including the stores, restaurants, casinos, shopping centers, you have to wear a mask. Okay, thank you for your show. You guys are doing great. Keep up the good work. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so Miguel is a friend of ours who has come to our weekly poker game. Right. He used to live, nearby. Now he's moved to Texas. So we know him. We know his personality.
Right.
And I love how our show has actually discouraged Miguel from playing craps. Right. That's so perfect with his personality, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else is, hey, I want to thank you guys for getting me into craps. It's really fun. But Miguel's like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with it. He's talking about those roulette minimums. And Tim and I were talking about this too. Tim, we were playing at a $15 roulette table. And so basically it means, if you bet on the outside, you have to bet $15. If you bet on the inside, you have to bet $15. We were saying, there was one woman there who was kind of new to the game and she put $15 on red or something like that. And then she just wanted to bet dollars on the inside.
Right.
And they're saying, no, if you're going to bet the inside, it has to be 15 total. We're thinking, why would they put restrictions like that on minimums? Let them, they've got the 15. There's more than $15 out there. Let them put, just dollars here and there on there. But
right.
Yeah.
This is what I've always thought. It must be something that they're trying to discourage some particular strategy that somebody might have.
What strategy, right? We're talking about roulette here.
Yeah, but why else would it be?
Yeah.
Why would you turn away money?
Yeah. I guess we see the same thing at the craps table, right? If you got a $15 line bet, that doesn't mean you can bet $2 in the field, right? If it's a $15 table. So,
right. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, Miguel talks about this James Bond roulette strategy. Let's talk about this a little bit. Who knows how it got its name, because he never plays this way in any of the films or books, right? This is not a strategy that's actually tied to James Bond in any way.
Somebody just
somehow it got his
that.
name,
Yeah.
right? So what you do is you risk $20 total. You make a $14 bet on 19 through 36, right? That is half the table. That's a even money bet, right? So you're betting on, all the numbers 19 through 36. Then you make a $5 bet on 6 line. That's where you're betting 6 numbers altogether, right? On the table.
Right.
For the numbers 13 through 18. And then a $1 bet on 0. This is assuming a single 0 table. Right?
Yes. Right.
But this is it. So $14 on 19 through 36, $5 on the 6 line, 13 through 18, and then $1 on 0. So you will win if 0 or any other number, 13 or higher, comes up.
Yeah, it's just 1 through 12 is your losers.
Right, 1 through 12 is your losers. You lose $20. So what it works out to is if 0 comes up, your profit is $16. If 13 through 18 comes up, your profit is $10. And then if 19 through 36 comes up, your profit is $8. So you're just trying to avoid 1 through 12. And somehow that's called the James Bond method. So there you go.
I wonder where that came up.
Yeah.
Most of the movies, doesn't he play Baccarat?
I don't know that I've ever seen him playing roulette.
Yeah,
in any of the movies.
that's what I was sitting there when you're saying that thinking, I don't remember him playing roulette.
Yeah.
A lot of Baccarat, right?
Yeah, maybe Baccarat.
There was one where he played
craps,
poker.
Poker, sure. There was craps in Diamonds Are Forever. Maybe we're missing it. Between the two of us, we've seen all the movies, but I don't remember. And if it is the case, again, it has nothing to do with this strategy, right? It's just somehow
somebody
it's
named
name.
it that.
And then, Miguel's talking about, and we mentioned it, ad nauseum on this show. In Oklahoma, they still have that ante where you need to pay an ante at all the table games.
Right.
It depends, $1.25 or whatever, just to bet. Right, and hopefully they'll get rid of that rule. All right, next up is Joseph.
Hey guys, this is Joseph from Grand Prairie, Texas, right outside of Dallas. Just a quick trip report. Went to Vegas this past weekend. Had a few days out there with the wife. We stayed at, first one was downtown Grand, which video poker, I'm a video poker player. Video poker had not great pay tables, but not bad. But they did have a $5 craps table going, just one. Plaza had $10 limits over there. Usually only had one table going also. Wife did pretty good on slots. Had about $2,500 for the weekend. 4 queens had full pay jacks or better. And a different thing that we did this year, we wanted to try something different. We went to Red Rock. Nice place. Great variety of video poker, which I love. But we went to the ballpark right across the street from the Red Rock, which is the home of the Las Vegas Aviators, and saw some good baseball. And I can't, recommend that enough if you want to do something a little bit different. Anyway, just a couple little things right there. About to register for the tournament coming up, and I'll see you guys there. Appreciate it. Bye.
Yeah, some good advice. You're off strip, maybe away from a lot of the tourists, but you've got Red Rock right there, and then baseball across the street. Yeah,
yeah. The Red Rock's really nice. I've been there once.
You've been, yeah.
And we went to Cashman Field.
Yeah, so the Aviators, they're a minor league affiliate of the Oakland A's, but back in the olden days, the team was called the Las Vegas Stars. They played at Cashman Field, and they were an affiliate of the Padres.
Yeah, and those ballparks are not close. I mean, Red Rock's way out there.
Yeah.
Cashman Field's not too far from downtown.
Right, it's a little closer to downtown. When you and I went, though, we made two mistakes.
Yes.
Going into Cashman Field. Number one, it was the middle of summer. It was way too hot.
Way too hot. Even at 8 o'clock at night, it was way too hot to sit there and watch a game.
So we were miserable. The second problem was we were in Vegas at a baseball game.
Right.
When there were craps tables, just sitting there at the casinos. So between those two things, we left early. We called a cab.
The only good thing about it was that there were some minor league ball players there at the time who became Padres that we saw them before they were Padres. Yeah. Before they were pros.
But anyway, some good advice. Yeah, if you want to do something other than gambling, other than eating, see some baseball, some minor league baseball.
Well, there's a lot of stuff to do in Vegas other than gambling.
Yes, of course. But this is something maybe people don't think of as going to a baseball game, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's unfortunate they play baseball in the summer.
Yeah, it is too bad. All right, Mike, so recently on the show, you were telling a story about a final Jeopardy situation.
Right.
Where the champ, Matt, had bet just $1. And we got a lot of different discussion of people, writing in and even talking to friends. Well, here's Andrew with a follow-up.
Hey, guys, this is Andrew, formerly of Dallas, now part of the Los Angeles area. Happy to be back in California after a long time away. I was just listening to your episode where you guys were talking about that double Jeopardy. Now, I'm not a game theorist, but I think the whole point of game theory is doing the optimal thing no matter what the other person does. So the one lady's got, let's say, $13,000 for sake of simplicity. The other guy's got $26,000. She's got exactly half of what he had. You guys were talking about personalities. Speaking of personalities, a lot of times people will, even though they should bet all of it, they'll bet like all but $1 just because they want to have something left if they lose. And so from his point of view, I think actually the optimal bet would be $1, because if she happens to bet less than all of her money, even $1 less, and then she gets it right, he could still win having bet only $1, or at least tie having bet only $1. So really, I think it is the optimal move, and maybe you're right about his personality. It is pretty satisfying to win by $1, but that's something to think about. I love hearing you guys talk about anything, including Jeopardy. I'm a huge Jeopardy fan. I love thinking about what is the best wager in a certain situation. So thanks for that. I look forward to seeing you guys in the poker tournament on September 5th.
Yeah, thanks. So, neither one of us is an expert on game theory. So all we can do is, throw some things around. But that's another interesting way of looking at it.
And that's a very valid point that you brought up. That could be part of it. Since then, he hasn't done that. He hasn't had the opportunity to do that. He's had such big leads.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He has like a $20,000 lead, so he bets $10,000.
Yeah.
So there's no way he can lose, and he might get an extra $10,000, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Our big thing right now, my wife and I and our oldest daughter, is we try and guess how much he's going to wager at the end. And based on what we think he will do.
Yeah.
And
do you pause the show so that you can think about it for longer than he actually thinks about it?
No, we don't have to, because there's such a long commercial gap. It drives me crazy. That commercial gap from when they show you what the category is.
Okay, so you're watching it live.
We're watching it live.
Okay, I got you.
Funny thing is, we caught Ruby calls grandma in Minnesota and finds out how much he bet and what happened.
Oh, okay.
Because she sees it way earlier than us.
So she cheats.
So
what you're saying.
So she knows the answer. If what happened, how big a lead he had, and everything.
Yeah. All right, next call.
Hey, you can bet on that. I've heard some talk lately on your episodes about more random versus less random, as it relates to bubble craps. And I wanted to share a bit of an anecdote for the millennials that listen about what more random versus less random might truly mean. And this is about the iTunes Shuffle algorithm. An iTunes Shuffle, you put on a song and it'll give you a random song for the next one. But if you go deep into the settings, you'll find a little slider, and the slider starts in the middle. And on one end of the slider, it says prioritize giving me the same artist, same album, or same genre, something similar to what I heard before. Try to do that more often than not. And on the far opposite end of the slider, it says, no, prioritize giving me something different than what I just listened to. And to kind of the average person, that strikes you as something more random which is give me something different, versus less random, which is give me something similar. And that's kind of the way people tend to view randomness on a continuum. But the truth is that for that iTunes slider, the most random is the one right in the middle where it starts at, which is where any song can come up just as often as any other song in your library. That's truly the most random. And you adjusting the slider either way moves it less random. And I think that's something that was instructive to me at an early age, which is that difference doesn't mean more random and the same doesn't mean less random. I don't necessarily know how this applies to craps rolls. Maybe if you're setting the dice perfectly, you're inclined to one sort of outcome versus another, and thus it's more the same as the previous outcome. But the point here is that you can't view randomness as something that makes the rolls different from one another. The rolls just have to be uniformly distributed, and that's what makes it random. And so anyone that grew up with iTunes, I hope appreciates what I'm calling about. Thanks again. You can bet on that. Good night.
Oh, I just got to say thank you, Jack, for ruining my whole football day, because all I'm going to think about is this all day. And then you're watching football, and I'm going to be thinking about, well, let me get this. Let me think about this.
But he makes a great point, because we think of it this way. You're thinking of a series of events. If the same thing happens, you're thinking, well, that's not very random.
Right.
But if different things happen, you think, oh, well, that's random. When really that's not the case. If you were to, flip a coin 10,000 times or whatever, there's going to be a sequence where heads comes up 10 times in a row, right? Or more, or something like that, right? And it's like, oh, that's not random.
Yeah.
So, that's in our heads when, random is just random. Yeah.
Right. Well, it all comes down to your mental capability with dealing with the word random.
Yes, and numbers and statistics and
statistics and everything. Yeah. But I don't think most people are geared to think as logically as Jack just explained.
Well, and we're not. And that's probably evolution. It's probably a good thing, right? So that we can notice patterns and, things like that.
Right.
But yeah, exactly.
Survival of the fittest, right? I've noticed a pattern. Every time I stick my head underwater for more than 5 minutes, I die.
Yeah.
And so you don't
every time you do that, you die.
Yeah, every time. So you don't do it.
Yeah. I love he's talking about this iTunes, bar that you can change. He's saying that, in the middle, that's the most random. And again, I'm glad he's saying most random, because I'm sure it's not random. Like, there's probably something in the algorithm. If you've got that setting right in the middle.
So the same song doesn't play.
Right, twice in a row, right? Even though randomly that could absolutely happen. Yeah.
Right. Or worse is like you hear a song, then it plays another song, and then you hear the first song again.
Yes.
The third time. So there's got to be something.
Oh, there's got to be, where you don't hear the same song within 20 songs or something like that. Right?
Did you happen to see, you mentioned algorithm now.
Great.
Did you see Saturday Night Live?
Oh, yeah. What are you saying? Now, where is this algorithm?
Yeah, how big is this algorithm? He's holding his hands
out. Right?
And she says, stop. When he's like, oh, my.
It's a big algorithm. All right. Let's hear from Michael.
Hey, what's up, Mark and Dr. Mike? This is Michael from Atlanta, Georgia. Want to give you guys a trip report. I was over in Dallas last week, and me and my buddy made the trip up to Oklahoma to WinStar. Once again, the home of the awful Oklahoma ante. It was really interesting. The world's largest casino only had one craps table open, plus, I guess, a roll-to-win craps table. So we kind of hung around 9 p.m. They did open another table, and we hopped on there. My buddy got the dice and went on a pretty awesome heater. Made me think about one of your callers that called in on the last episode talking about continuous come bet. I do a variation of that. I start out with pass line and odds, with place bets on 6 and 8, and then start come bets. And then if it moves to a 6 or 8, I just use that to make my odds and keep going from there. Pretty quickly into his role, I had come bets with full odds on every single number. I think some of the dealers were pretty green. One guy, he was taking a lot of time to pay off the bets, and I got lucky. The point was off, and a 7 came, and all of my come bets stayed up there. Normally, those would all have to come down, obviously, and he didn't seem to notice. Another thing I finally tried, I never play the hard ways, but while my buddy was on that roll, I was like, oh, just give me a hard 6 and 8 with $5, and I put $1 for the dealer. Next roll, hard 8. I was like, all right, cool, parlay it. So we had $45 up there, plus I guess 10 for the dealers at that point, and 2 rolls later, sure enough, hit it. So I did take it up to $100, but he did not hit it again. But all in all, it was a great run. It was a fun time. Normally, I find the dealers to be slightly rude out there. I don't know if maybe tipping them the entire time helped with it. I do know that one time I tossed some odds for my comeback, and I was like, hey, did I send you enough? And he said, I don't care, and just threw me up for full odds. So they were having a good time with us, and it was a good trip. So I hope you guys have a great week. We'll be in Vegas in a few weeks, and I'll call with a report from there. Thanks. Bye.
All right, good. Yeah, we mentioned before the most common mistake that craps dealers make is failing to take down come bets when there's a 7 on the come out roll.
Yeah, I think it's a lot to do with they're winning, so they got to pay the line, and then sometimes there's bets in the middle that they're concerned with or whatever, and they just forget about that.
Yeah, well, it happens quite a bit when I'm on a table with you because you've got so many prop bets on the come out roll. They're more concerned about getting your thing right than anything else. Yeah. All right, next up is Paul.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Paul from Northern California. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I wanted to commend you on one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to regularly. So I just had a question. Me and my friends, we've been playing craps a long time whenever we make it out to the casinos. One of our favorite things to do is whenever we get together, we make sure we got some singles and fives, and we play wall dice. We'll just play against each other. It's super fun, just getting together and not have to worry about a casino. You can do it anywhere. But it got us to thinking, could we, host our own craps tournament at home with some friends? Something like a buy-in tournament. Everyone puts in $20. You get $10,000 in chips, play for an hour, and then break down the pot based on percentage of what people have or have something like a first place, second place, third place. We haven't done anything like this before. It's not really standard, but, kind of like a home poker tournament. Maybe we could do something like that. I was wondering if you all have ever played anything like that, hosted anything. I thought maybe some of the other listeners have maybe done something like that or would also be interested. So anyways, thanks again, and looking forward to the next episode.
Yeah, craps just doesn't really lend itself to tournament play. And,
it's different.
If you were doing it at home, the problem is, okay, let's say you're going to all right, we're doing 20 rolls. Okay, well, as you're getting closer to those final rolls, it's really important to go in a certain order. Almost like have a dealer button that moves around, because if you get to make your bet last, you've got an advantage. You can see what everybody else has done.
Right.
But it's kind of cumbersome. Yeah. And, even
when they run a craps tournament in Vegas, there's a button and you have to make your bets in order.
Yeah.
Not just at the last roll, but the whole
time, right?
And it's very important because if you see what other people are doing, you adjust your bets accordingly.
Yeah. And it's slow. It's way slower than a regular craps game.
Yeah.
And I think not nearly as fun.
Right. Right.
So, I guess what we'd say is maybe think of something else. If you want to do a tournament, certainly poker is good. Blackjack is even good because, in blackjack, going in order, that's fine.
Right.
Right? It's not
that's
quite
part
as...
of the game anyway.
There's only one bet that you're making. So that's the other problem with craps. Okay, your turn to make bets. Well, I'm going to, place this and do that. There's so many different bets that take so long.
Right.
So we would recommend that if you do want to play craps with your friends, you could just play for very small stakes, pennies even,
right,
and maybe take turns being the bank, dealing, or something like that. Or if you don't think your friends know enough about the game, maybe you deal the whole time and you have like a limit. Like if you lose $20 or whatever, you're done. Or that's what I would recommend is just kind of, pretend like you're in a casino, but just play for really, really small stakes.
And we've tried all these things with our friends.
Yeah.
So, we're speaking from some experience here. It's a little cumbersome. It's more fun just to get together and play.
Yeah.
Like you said, for small stakes.
Yeah.
And just decide, okay, Joe's going to deal for the first hour, and then so-and-so is going to deal for a while. And, you take your losses and your wins accordingly.
Yeah. Okay, let's hear from our friend Marty.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike, it's Marty from Reno. Hey, on the last episode, the question came up about not getting your odds bet down and feeling bad about, having the casino pay off. One of the things I do when I walk up to a table is I tell them I always want full odds and that I always want the inside numbers covered. And they create what's called the contract bet for you. So the dealer will tell the pit boss or will tell the floor person or whoever happens to be on box, if you got a box man, that this person wants contract bet on odds. That way, if you happen to be turning around to get a drink or you happen to be goofing around and talking to somebody, they'll automatically set that up for you if for some reason the number hits and you don't have the money down. So anyway, call the contract bet. Works really great. I'm guessing they do it in California. They certainly do it at every place I played in Vegas and in Reno. Anyway, love the show, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, great advice.
Yeah,
we were, if you forget to make a bet. Now, be prepared to, be honest about it. And if you fail to make the bet and, they don't notice and, that 7 out and you don't have your odds down there, it's like, oh, hey, Dr. Mike, you said you were going to take odds, throw it down. I don't know. You may get a free roll out of it if they're nice, but
maybe
just be ready to go the other way as well. You want that every time.
Right, that works both ways.
If you really do want it every time, but that is good advice.
Right.
I don't know if this is completely related, but the other day when we were playing, I was making some place bets and I was about to place the 9, which I don't often do. Usually I do like even numbers. And I hesitated because there was nothing on the 9. And I was sure that you had a bet on the 9.
Right.
And you did, but who knows what happened to it? I don't know if they forgot to set it up initially.
Yeah, that was a weird situation.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But again, they're so used to the way you play. I mean, there was no question. The dealer said, oh, yeah, sorry, Mike. Yeah, you've got a 9. They just put it out there.
Yeah, that was odd. I think just probably forgot to place it.
That's odd I think. Unless maybe the dice hit it and moved. I don't know. But anyway, they knew that. So that bet was booked for you.
Yeah, well, I out there, I play the exact same way every time. So they know exactly.
Yeah. All right, next call.
Hi, gang. This is Kevin. I just wanted to give you guys a little shout out. I really love the podcast. Wanted to give you a quick trip report from Circa in downtown Las Vegas. We went mid-August, which was extremely hot, but here are the upsides. It's a gorgeous and simple property. It's really a sports venue with a casino attached. We loved it, but if you're not a massive sports person, you might want to go somewhere else. To get on the elevators there, to get to your room, there's a touch screen you'll tap for the floor outside the actual bays. Then the screen just directs you to the correct elevator lettered A through F. So, for example, if I hit 23rd floor on the touch screen, the screen just directs me to the D elevator in the bay, for example, where the doors quickly open and let you in. Nothing to press inside the car. It also alleviates any crowding in the bays and people rushing for the same car. The breakfast cereal shakes are the best. Wife had Captain Crunch. I had Cinnamon Toast Crunch. They were incredible, even at the lofty $7.77 price tag. The security is great there. You'll have to show an ID or a room key to even get on the property. So that kind of kept riffraff to a minimum. That made my wife feel very safe too. Stadium Swim, really a cool venue. Free to people who stay on property, but again, it's really angled toward the sports-minded. Garage Mahal is set up perfectly for shuttles, cabbies, and ride shares. And the best part, and this is common with Derek Stevens' own properties, the people who work here really enjoy their jobs, and it shows. They're friendly, engaging, and they really take good care of whoever you are. Here are the downsides. $15 minimum on all table games. Machines are much cheaper, of course, but there's something about the social element of a table game. There's no shade at Stadium Swim, so we went in the morning to avoid the scorching heat and got a little shadow from the Binions Hotel. I realize it's a casino and most people have clocks on their phones, but since it's such a sports-focused hotel with a giant sports book, I wish there were more clocks around to tell you when the first pitch, first snap, or first tip happens. Legacy Club, the lounge on the top of the hotel was $20 to $30 just to get in. I always think it's funny how on most websites, when you go to an FAQs page, they rarely tell you exactly how much something costs. And masks, sadly but understandably, we all had to wear them indoors. When all is said and done, I highly recommend Circa. It's a great place, nice location, and plenty safe for even the solo traveler. Aside from visiting once in a while, I doubt I'm ever going to stay on the Strip again, given the way I'm often treated as a low roller. Anyway, when we came back, I went to Dubuque, went 4-0 in the sports book, and won $200 in the Buffalo machine. I need to pick a new hobby. Love the show, guys. Hope to see you on the table soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
I liked when he said, go somewhere else if you're not a sports fan. Yes. That's my feeling in life.
Another t-shirt.
Yeah. Go somewhere else if you're not a sports fan.
Yeah. At least a couple of times when on this last trip, Tim and I, we were walking around downtown and thinking, what should we do? And we just said, let's go back to Circa. And it's like, yes. Brilliant. We had such a good time there.
Right.
I'm glad that Kevin did mention Stadium Swim. It's a fantastic venue, but because you want everybody to be able to see the screens, there's no shade. You can't have umbrellas up or anything like that. So definitely be prepared for that, unless you get a cabana, which of course is, way more expensive.
Fortunately, football season is in a colder time of the year.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about the heat.
Be a little bit better, as we move along
March
here.
Madness will be fine.
Yeah, probably,
Yeah, it's just baseball might be a little rough.
Yes, yep, definitely.
I think the reason that the dealers at Circa and the other Derek Stevens owned casinos are so happy and friendly is because, first of all, the atmosphere is upbeat.
Yep,
you're not working in like just a real quiet place, or I mean, it's upbeat music and things are going on. That always tends to put everybody in a good mood, including the dealers. Yeah. And also the other thing is his presence.
Yes,
he's very
He's
present
hands-on
in his
and
casinos, and when you see your boss out there working or being present, that makes employees feel good too.
Yep.
Versus some guy you never see. Just, you get an email every once in a while, that kind of thing, right?
Well, so you've got the D, Golden Gate, Circa, Derek Stevens properties, high energy, always music, a lot of sports at Circa.
Right.
What would you say is the opposite, from a casino standpoint, the opposite of that environment, casino past or present?
Oh, the Desert Inn.
Yes, right. The Desert Inn. That's why I said past or present. So that
I was, even before you said past or present, I was going to say the Desert Inn. When it was, that place was like a grave.
It really was. It's like you were walking into a funeral home.
You're right. Yeah, which way to the funeral? What's the cover charge?
I enjoyed playing there every once in a while.
We did. Well, you saw a lot of stars and stuff too there. There were a lot of high rollers, which was kind of neat.
Yeah.
But it was quiet. I mean, oh my God.
Yeah. All right, let's hear from Coles.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Coles from Virginia. I have kind of a two-part question, if that's okay. I have a trip planned up to go to the MGM Grand in D.C., and I was wondering, one, for a $25 table, buying in for $500, what is the appropriate amount of $100 bills compared to 20s that is acceptable to buy in without slowing down the table too much? And then two, if I plan on playing a fairly conservative iron cross strategy where I wait for a couple hits and then decide to turn my bets off, is it more courteous to ask the dealer to turn my bets off or to ask the dealer to take all of my bets down and take all of my chips? I don't want to overwork the dealer too much, but if it's as simple as just putting your coin on my chips, maybe that's easier. Thank you so much for all you guys do. Look forward to hearing from you. Bye.
Okay, good questions.
Good questions.
In the first one, if you're just buying in for $500, it really doesn't matter. 20s, 100s, you're not talking about a bunch of bills.
Especially if you're buying in on a come-out roll.
Right.
Where there's no pressure.
That's the important thing is don't buy in the middle of somebody's roll. Wait for the come out.
You don't want $1,000 in 20s in the middle of someone's roll. Yeah. But if it's a come out roll, it wouldn't matter with
and
500.
Again, he's talking 500. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. If you're talking about like $2,000 and they're a bunch of 20s, well,
it's a little laborious.
If you have a choice of what you can hand them, it really doesn't matter. Now, as far as taking your bets down or calling them off, he's talking about maybe an iron cross. It sounds like based on the way you're playing, I would just call them off because that is less work for the dealers. They just have to put the lammer on there that says off.
Well, especially if you're going to put them back up.
Yeah, you're going to be making the same bet eventually.
Right.
So if, during that time while they're off and a 7-out comes, you just tell the dealer, leave them up there.
Yeah.
And so they'll leave them up there with the off button on.
Right, exactly. It's way easier for a dealer. They'll appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And if you're asking for a down every time and then you're going up and making the same bets again, especially on the same shooter.
Right.
If you decide you want to get back in there again, they may even say something to you. Well, we've still got a bunch of phone calls, Mike. Why don't we stop here, though?
Okay.
Are you able to maybe do like a bonus episode, maybe?
I'll plan on that.
Okay. Let me ask you this. So we got into a schedule of we would record on Wednesday nights.
Right.
And then I would release the show on Thursdays. Now, we can continue to do that, but let me ask you this. Right now, we're recording on a Sunday. Would this make more sense for you? Going forward, especially with your work schedule, and I don't want you to be tired. Should we get into maybe recording on Sundays instead?
Releasing Monday?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
You think so? I want to maybe accommodate you because,
what do you think?
Anytime, you usually record, you're coming straight from work.
Right.
And you're usually exhausted just from work.
Right. And sometimes I get here pretty late.
Yeah.
Yeah, this might be better.
Okay. Why don't we think about that without committing to it right now? But maybe, if we're trying to do a bonus episode here, maybe we record again next Sunday. right? And then,
there you go.
make it from there.
And then every Monday, Mondays.
I'll try to release Monday or Sunday night if I get it edited in time. And,
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No hard and fast commitment, but maybe that'll be our plan initially, at least going forward.
It'll be marked down in the history books as the day the podcast release date changed.
Yeah, that's what'll be marked down in the history books. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we've got a lot of PayPal donations to thank people for since the last one, and some of our recurring ones we actually got twice. That happened from James from the Color Up Craps YouTube channel, Kurt, Justin, and Robin from Anytime Gambling. Thank you again for sticking with us. We got, again, multiple donations during the time off. We also got recurring donations from Nathan, Brian Dancer, Brian and Sarah, and Josh. Thanks very much. We also got a donation from Eric. He says, just touched down in Vegas for my delayed 40th birthday trip that was supposed to happen last year. Thanks for everything you two do for the show and all the great content. Last year, I saw Mark post a Facebook photo of his son wearing a shirt with Dr. Mike's face on it. What's the backstory on that shirt, and how do I get one?
Oh, God.
That shirt. It was actually my sister made the shirt.
Yeah, your sister.
Right, for us to wear.
Right.
And it's just this goofy photo of Dr. Mike wearing like devil horns, right? That we got at the D.
I think that was taken at the D.
Yeah, we were doing that slots tournament, and so it's a pretty goofy photo. So again, we don't really have T-shirts for sale, but maybe that's one that we put up. You should see the back of that shirt. Oh my gosh, your picture on the back is horrific. Let me just put it that way. Also, thanks for a donation from Jonathan. Karma donation for an upcoming trip to Atlantic City. First overnight trip since the pandemic. Hope to call in with a winning trip report. Oh, hopefully that went well for you. Gosh, it's great. People are getting back to the casino.
Right.
Also, a donation from Rob. Karma donation for a trip to Jackpot, Nevada, the closest casino with table games to Idaho. Cactus Pete's Casino, craps, $5 minimums, 10 times odds, and Barton's 93 Casino with $5 single deck blackjack, which pays 3-2. Oh, excellent. So, Rob, hopefully you had a good trip. Also, a donation from Tucker, Karma donation for 21st birthday trip to Caesars, Southern Indiana. And we got we got some mail from Tucker, and we got a phone call from Tucker that we'll play next time too. And it sounds like he had a really great trip. So we'll hear more from him on the next episode. Also, a donation from our buddy Miguel, Fahrenheit healthy temperature for Dr. Mike recovery. So his donation was $9.86. So 98.6. So that was what that was about. Also, a donation from our buddy Michael James, heading to Las Vegas for our annual, except for 2014 and 2020, poker trip with the guys. And doggone it, he was there when Tim and I were there, and we missed him. Yeah, it was just we couldn't, kind of get our schedules together. And he was meeting up with some friends, during the football game. So yeah, missed meeting him. But he won a poker tournament while he was there. Oh, he posted online, so that was good. So again, Michael, going on here, he says, I usually try to come up with something pithy, but frankly, I am pissed at San Diego because I put an obviously, in hindsight, too large of a futures bet on the Padres to win the pennant. Of course, I did not even put a homer bet on the Brewers. Sigh. You said a couple episodes ago, hey, they're not going to the playoffs, and what a collapse. I mean, this was
collapse.
Terrible. They
probably go down in history as one of the worst collapses by a team.
Yeah, it really was terrible.
I mean, they didn't even end up 500.
No, under 500.
Under 500.
As fantastic as the first half of the season. Anyway, Michael goes on, wishing Dr. Mike well and hope that you gentlemen can get back to the excellent podcast. So thank you, Michael. Also, a donation from William to help with Dr. Mike's stent or colostomy bag or whatever he needs to get better. Take care, guys. All right, we'll put your donation to good use. So thank you for that, William.
Hey, I need a colostomy bag.
Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. And our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at youcanbetonThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review of the show. We love getting your feedback. All right. Welcome back, Dr. Mike. Glad you're feeling better. Got anything for us here at the end?
Well, I just wanted to say thanks to everybody who sent their well wishes.
Yep.
I really appreciate that. It made me feel great. I'm glad I'm back. Sorry I missed so much time, but things should go better now, I think.
Good.
So we'll get back to our usual gambling habits and our usual Vegas stints, and everything will return to normal. Football's back.
Yeah.
Can't complain about that. I watched the Alabama game yesterday.
Oh my gosh, was that
very
something,
exciting.
huh? Yikes.
Yeah.
Wow, what a
Not
loss.
that I particularly dislike Alabama.
No,
but
just
I always like seeing underdogs.
Oh,
man.
anytime there's something, upset like that, gosh.
Yeah, that was quite a game. Actually, yesterday there were quite a few good games.
It was an interesting college
Michigan
football
was on the
game,
verge of
day.
losing. Georgia was really the only team that was ahead the whole time and never had to worry.
Yeah.
So I assume they're going to be number one now. So
Maybe,
congratulations to Georgia. And our Aztecs here in San Diego are undefeated.
Yeah, going
still,
off to a good start.
and ranked.
Yeah,
now,
ranked. Even though they're not actually playing here in town,
right?
they're building a new stadium, so they're playing up in Carson,
They started the
California.
game last night as saying temporary home of the Aztecs, 190 miles from San Diego.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think we're back to normal.
Good.
So let's plan on next Sunday.
All right, very good. All right, thanks for listening.
Good night.